Alright guys, part 6. It's the third time I've started this video. I've had neighbors in my apartment complex walk by every other the first 2 times I tried to do this, and I know they're looking at me like I'm a fucking crazy person talking to a camera. But in 6 we covered 3 topics: draft, gay or marriage, and Tea Party years. So I'll start with draft. Not a big fan of the idea of a draft, since I'd probably go into it. Because I really don't think that the whole college exemption that used to be there will be there anymore. Let's face it, last time we had a draft, you only had the top fifth, I believe, of high school students go into college, and now you have everybody but the bottom fifth going into college. So I don't see them being able to do a draft and still keep the first 4 years, your first BA at the college level exemption. I just don't think they'd be able to do it. As far as the prisoner idea that Bootleg stated, I think that'd be too complicated. I think it's a cool idea in theory, because I agree with you. I think it should be like an option. Like if you got 20 years, behind bars, serve 4, and we'll let you go. It'd be a good incentive. But I don't know. Do we put them next to volunteers or other draft members who work in prison? Do we put a whole squadron of just prisoners there? Who watches them, and who's got the button with the little collars? I think it'd be hard to actually pull off. So hope we never have another need for a draft. I kind of feel along the lines of the other guy who posted a video response to this. I can't think of his name right now, but my ideals kind of follow along the same as his. I don't think it'll ever happen, with the exception of maybe like a World War III situation. And even then, like you said, we're in the atomic age. Just because you got more soldiers doesn't mean you're going to win the war anymore. So I think it would depend on who's involved in the fight and everything. Because I don't think we'd drop nuclear bombs on somebody else who didn't have them. But at the same time, why drop, nuclear bombs or send nuclear missiles? Wow, okay, so I just had my that attempt to get interrupted by a neighbor too. And she even stood outside of her door for a minute, not even fucking with her keys. And I just had another neighbor pull up. Fucking, I'm gonna have to try this inside. Hold on. Okay, so I don't know what's up with all my neighbors coming over at the same time. I'm just trying not to look crazy in front of them. Because I'm sure some of them might understand I'm shooting a video, but others would be like, what the fuck is he doing? Because it's not a camcorder, it's just a camera that has the ability to do video, so I'm trying not to have my neighbors think I'm fucking insane. So what was I talking about? The atomic age, I really don't think we're going to have another draft. Not for a long time. So I guess we'll move on to gay marriage. Gay marriage, it really kind of just boils down to it's a civil rights issue. You're pretty much just telling these people that they can't have the same benefits because of their sexual orientation, which, in this country is wrong. I don't really care how you feel about it. You're denying them something that they should be able to do solely because of their sexual orientation, which is fucked up. It'll come down to, before I die, the Supreme Court will hear the damn thing, and I guarantee you that they will say it's allowed. If somebody's watching this video and that's already happened and they've said no, let me know, post in the comments or something. Of course, I'm sure I'll have heard about it, that'll be a big news deal. But, that whole definition of let's keep marriage, a man and a woman, why? What does them being, married have to do with you? It really makes no sense to me, It's not gonna demean marriage, it's just give them the same benefits. I know President Obama just, I think made I don't know whether he issued a statement about it or what, but I know that he wants to, or maybe he just did, implement it to where hospitals have to admit same-sex partners
to see their loved ones because of a woman, I guess, who was denied to see her partner as she slipped into a coma because they're not, she's technically not family, so she wasn't able to see her, in her last moments of consciousness. So, I'm all for it. I'm not gay. But I don't see why we should deny people. You have people making this argument about blacks and interracial marriages for a long time. No, it's fine. You still have people who hate it, but it's legal. You can do it. Same thing will happen with gay marriage eventually. And the DOMA acts will get stricken down. If you don't know what DOMA is basically you had states, I think it was Hawaii originally, that passed same-sex marriage, and DOMA was every other state's response of saying, no, we won't honor gay marriage because I can't remember what the statute's called. It's a federal statute. Basically says you have to honor the laws of other states. So if I got married in Las Vegas, Florida would have to recognize that marriage. So the theory was if people got married in Hawaii and then came back to other states, that state would have to recognize it. Even if they didn't allow gay marriage, they'd have to recognize it. So a bunch of states, I think all of them, for the most part, passed what DOMA, which stands for something, I can't remember at this exact moment, which basically said, no, we don't have to honor that. Finally, I guess we have the Tea Party. I support those guys for speaking their minds and getting involved in politics. I think that's always very important, to get out there and fight for what you believe in. I personally don't share the same, views or beliefs of the Tea Partiers, but I respect their right to get out there. I think some of them are uneducated on the matters they're talking about, which is a problem. And I don't even think they're aware of it, but I think I mentioned it in another video, throwing around the socialist and the communist and Marxist, terms. A lot of them do it, improperly. There are a couple, that do use them, in the proper context, and you actually know what they mean, but you have a lot of people who just have no idea. And the other thing is, you got people who are bitching about healthcare. Why aren't you bitching about getting your mail? That's a socialized program. That's a federal thing. If you go over in Europe, a buddy of mine told me that over in in Europe, I think in England, it's privatized. The state doesn't control mail. So technically, if you want to call healthcare a socialist program, the United States Postal Service would fall under a socialist program. So but I don't hear anybody bitching about getting their mail. Fuck, I hear people getting pissed about them maybe not even because they're under such financial constraints, possibly taking away Saturday delivery. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, they just pick and choose what they want to bitch about when they're, very similar things. So it's whatever. But, once again, I'm happy when anybody actually gets out there, as long as it remains non-violent and, can remain, to be a civil discourse, kind of like what we're doing right here. As long as it's a civil discourse, I'm all for anybody, regardless if he's getting out there and speaking your mind. So I think that'll wrap it up for 6. I don't think I'm going to get to 7 tonight. I don't know, it just depends on how late I stay up doing this paper and all, but we'll see. Take it easy, guys.